Here's the best workout for fat loss. This is the best stretch for back pain. This is the best movement for hip mobility. My biggest question is, how do you know? Because ultimately, these exercises have worked for a lot of people, which is why they're so popular. But I'm pretty sure many of you have tried these exercises and movements and stretches to help with pain, increase mobility, and all of that type of stuff. But if it hasn't worked, what is happening there? That has always been my question, and this is where biofeedback comes in. Drop that intro. What's up everybody, Andy Shea from Womb Reborn, and today we're going to be talking about biofeedback. In simple terms, is to try and figure out, hey, what actually works for you as an individual? Because the truth is, everybody says you're unique, and you absolutely are. Especially in regards to pain management, increasing mobility, and movement stuff. Because we all move differently, we all have different genetics, our joint compositions are different, we have different movement patterns in our everyday life that could be affecting the entire way that we want to move. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. But the hardest part is listening to what your body is telling you to do. As in, what is happening here that's telling the rest of the body how to respond. And that is what biofeedback is about, is to listen to your brain's response of telling your body if something is good or not. And we intuitively do that already. As in, if something's hurting, you're like, oh, my shoulder hurts. And someone works on the shoulder, what is the first thing you do? You go, oh, that actually feels better, or, oh, that did not feel very good. That is a form of biofeedback. It's literally just listening to your body after you've done something to be like, hey, is it better, worse, or the same? Now, the cool thing is, we can test every single movement with biofeedback to see if your body is responding or not. You can call it this test and retest protocol. It's a very, very simple technique that I'll be showing you right now. So, without further ado, let's head to the gym. So, testing biofeedback is actually relatively easy, and all you're gonna do is bend down and reach for your toes. I know it sounds very simple, but the difference is you're not stretching as far as you can. Most of the times when we think about reaching for the toes, you try to stretch as far as you go. You're like, oh, I wanna just touch the ground or whatever it is. You don't have to with biofeedback. The difference in biofeedback is to talk to your brain. So if you're stretching as far down as possible, you're talking to the muscles, as in you're waiting for the muscles to pull back to respond, but the brain is already responding before that happens. So what you're gonna do is simply just flop down to the first line of resistance, as in, as soon as you feel something stopping you from wanting to go any further, that's where you stop. For example, if I'm going straight into my toe touch, all I'm gonna do is reach down and wait. Okay, that's when my body is naturally stopping. So I'm marking that off by my shin so you can see how far that is away from the floor. Coming back up, and that's it. And you could feel it anywhere. You could feel it in the lower back, you could feel it in the calves, and the hamstrings, the foot, the shoulder, the neck. Anything can trigger this, especially in regards to pain and rehab stuff. So if you have lower back pain, you might feel it in the lower back. If you have knee issues, you might feel it there. It's relative to every single person. That is the power of going down to the first line of resistance. So I typically just like to flop down and be like, okay, this is where my body naturally stops, and notice it's pretty much the same every single time. All right, so if I wanted to go further, I totally can if I wanted to stretch as far as possible, but the first line of resistance for me is right over here. And I personally feel it in my lower back, and that's where it usually feels tight and stuff like that. So you can use this as your baseline. So mark off that first line of resistance, wherever you feel it, that's called your baseline. And we're gonna test every single movement against this baseline. Oh, another important thing is just make sure that your stance is the same. You can replicate it every single time. If you're starting with your feet hip width apart, totally do that. Or if you have your feet together, that's a little bit easier to make sure that you're doing the same thing every single time. Perfect. So I can do a squat, I can do a lunge, I can do a plank, I can do a stretch, I can release a specific tissue. And if the brain likes it, the body will naturally increase in mobility at the passive level, as in the first line of resistance will increase a little bit further in order to tell your body that, hey, I actually like this movement. I want more of it. It should be effortless. Let me show you what that means real quick. So for me right now, I'm gonna test my baseline. This is where it is. I feel it in the back of my hamstrings and my lower back. I'm gonna do a very, very simple movement, as in just activating my core muscles. So all I'm gonna do is just a dying bug position. So I'm just gonna lift up the tailbone a little bit, feel my core muscles, and I'm just gonna stabilize the core the whole time. Just 1 or 2 reps is all you need to see if your body likes it or not. So as soon as I did an exercise that maybe my body liked, maybe it didn't, we'll see what happens. Now I'm testing it back against the baseline, notice same stance, and I'm flopping down again. And I've gotten a lot further. So that means, yes, the body likes it. Biofeedback, think about it as binary code, is 0 or 1. It's a yes or a no. If your body likes it, which means yes, it will grant you more mobility. If it doesn't like it, it will say no, and it will pull back and recoil and say, hey, stop doing that. So if any point in time during your workout, during an exercise, during a movement, or even a negative thought that your body didn't like, it will naturally recoil past the baseline and says, hey, stop. I did not like that. Don't make me do more of it, at least not right now. So if I do something that my body doesn't like, as in something hard, something, that hurt my foot a little bit. So we'll test against the baseline. And notice it regressed, it pulled back. I'm not making this up, this is exactly how the brain responds, and it's instantaneous. The nervous system fires immediately, right? So it's electric currents that run through the body, and if the brain doesn't like it, it will tell you immediately, hey, don't do that. And if you do something that your body likes, it will give you more of it. So now I'm gonna come back and redo the exercise that was initially good. So I'm gonna redo my dying bug, and I'm gonna activate the core, feel all the right muscles and stuff, and then come back and retest. And it got good again. So biofeedback responded positively. Hey, keep doing exercises like that. So one of my most favorite ways to actually implement this strategy is to figure out which releases, resets, activations work naturally for you to help reduce pain, tension, and increase mobility and stuff like that. So if you haven't been through the releases in my ramp method, I highly recommend you to do this immediately after each release to see if your body responds to it or not. That will be in this link over here or here, one of those things up here. I haven't figured out that yet. So for example, you're releasing your calf muscles and you're like, oh my God, it's so tight. And after you release it, you retest your biofeedback and you're like, oh, that got a lot better. Keep doing that release. If you get into the adductors or the sternocostal ligaments or the traps or something and you release that and all of a sudden, hey, biofeedback did not get any better, do not do that. So you can literally make a little checklist of, hey, what is good biofeedback exercises and releases, what is not so good. So make a mental note of the not so good ones so that eventually maybe sometime you get to that after like a month or two, you start doing those and all of a sudden biofeedback gets better. That is very, very good progress. The idea is that we should be able to release all the muscles and feel good. We should be able to reset the nervous system with all of these exercises and be okay. We should be able to activate every single muscle and the body will feel better. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people experience when you activate your core but then your lower back hurts or something like that, that just means that that specific activation was not designed for you. So utilize this biofeedback technique to test if that exercise works well for you or not. I know I said that multiple times, but hopefully you'll start utilizing this very, very simple technique to help you keep expanding. The most important thing about this is that it makes you pay attention to everything that you are actually doing. Because I personally believe that that is the biggest dysfunction of what we typically do, is that we try to check out of our bodies when we're doing exercises and stuff, or we rely on a trainer or a video to tell us, okay, I'm just gonna push multiple reps until I'm completely fatigued and dead so I can get the results. But if you're constantly doing that and you're getting injured, it usually means that you're relying on a program or the trainer or someone else to tell you how you should be feeling. And that is usually why we get injuries and imbalances over time, is because we forget to check into our own bodies. So the best way to check out, as in check out of stresses, check out of all the other stuff in our everyday life, is to actually check into the body and figure out what you actually need to do to get better. This is by far the most simple way from what I've experienced so far to help you fine-tune what is naturally going to work for you and make you pay attention to what is happening with here and with the rest of the body. So shoot me a comment below if you have any more questions about the biofeedback. If you haven't checked the ramp method yet, make sure to click onto that playlist so that you can go through my entire ramp series. The ramp method is release, reset, activate, move, and play. That is a system that I implement into my facility in San Diego, and it's designed for you to be able to customize things specifically for you and utilize this biofeedback technique to implement into the ramp method to create your own workouts. You can start taking ownership of how you should be feeling. If you had any crazy trippy experiences that happened while you're doing these biofeedback tests, please let me know and in the comments below. That would be really fun to just see how everybody responds differently to different exercises and stuff like that. And if this is the first time you've seen this video and you enjoy the content, please hit that red button to subscribe and hit the notification bell next to it so that you can keep updated with all of my future posts. My name is Andy Shea from Moon Reborn. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!